Charlie Kirk's killer just got arrested and identified and is already causing chaos and mayhem on social media. Everybody is rushing to our timelines to do mental gymnastics to push whatever agenda or propaganda they're looking to push. They provided more footage showing how the shooter was able to escape. As you can see him, he's running off the roof. Now, when he gets to the edge of the roof, he then hops off. And when he hops off, I didn't see too many people running frantically, especially for an active shooting situation. But once he was able to hop off, he was then able to assimilate because he begins to walk normally once cars begin to roll by. I guess you don't want to be caught running when cars is driving by because then they would suspect something suspicious is happening. So he pretty much, starts walking normally, was able to get to the sidewalk and then cross the street where I believe, or where they claim, he then made his way into the woods and was able to disappear. His name is Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, out of Utah. Now, the dude, before he did this JCat stuff, was actually pretty academically gifted. He got a presidential scholarship to a university. I mean, no dummies is getting presidential scholarships, right? So you got to be somewhat smart, somewhat gifted. Now, from videos of him even announcing he got the scholarship, you could tell the kid is a tad bit autistic or on the spectrum. He's a little off. It's like one of those things where you don't really got confirmation or you don't really have like a diagnosis, but you could look at their mannerism and tell he's a little off.
Okay.
Congratulations, you have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000. This scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
The evolution of Tyler really highlights how important college is. We consider elementary school, middle school, K through 12, high school as formative years, but that 18 to 22 is also formative years as well. And them years in college is formative as hell, especially when it comes to Tyler. Tyler left high school, grown up in a Mormon household with conservative parents, and for the most part, when he left high school, you thought Tyler was just a normal conservative kid, man. He loved his guns. He was Mormon. He was very conservative. He even donated $200 to a Trump campaign at 18 years old. Not too many 18-year-olds got $200 to give. Now, it is the possibility that his parents could have probably, like donated or given him the money to give at a rally, and now he is listed down as like the contributor. But nonetheless, though, he, for the most part, had all the signs, had all the cues of a far-right conservative kid who grew up in a Mormon household. 4 years of indoctrination at college, Tyler went from a Second Amendment toting hard-right conservative to being at pride rallies with an LGBTQ trans flag on his vest. It only took 4 years. Now, what I will say this, man, for kids like Tyler, who is high functioning enough to where the family can ignore that they are on a spectrum, to where they don't have to seek a diagnosis. It's just one of those things where we all know, but just ignore and treat Tyler like he one of us. I had a cousin called JJ. And what I would say is this, man, okay? As a kid, convincing JJ to do something was the easiest thing I think I ever had to do as a kid. It was very easy. I remember being in the house one day, right? It was me, JJ, and we was at his dad's crib, Uncle Joseph's crib, okay? Now, I'm playing on the wall, right? I'm playing footsies on the wall. Now, I'm playing footsies on the wall, and it was like a picture frame that was on the wall. This huge picture frame, it came crashing down and it broke. Now, I knew doing that is gonna get my butt whooped. So you know what I did, bruh? I said, "Oh, JJ, why did you do this?" I said, "JJ, oh my God, JJ, you playing on the other side of the room on the PlayStation, minding your business, caused this painting to fall down." And you know what JJ started doing? He started crying. "No, I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to do this. Oh my God." And you know who got their butt whooped that day? Not me. JJ got his butt whooped that day. Now, JJ was high functioning. He's somebody where the family just refused to get him diagnosed. He was a little off, but he wasn't off enough to where it was an issue to where he couldn't be a high functioning person. To this day, JJ got a regular job. He lives with himself. He has a girl. He's doing his thing. So clearly, they're susceptible, to being brainwashed and indoctrinated. Now, here's the thing: if I was able to convince JJ that he broke a painting or he broke a picture frame while he was on the other side of the room, what do you think a university is able to convince or indoctrinate JJ of doing at the age of 18 to 22? If I could convince him that he broke this picture frame, even though he was nowhere near it, you think it will be difficult for a college professor to convince JJ that he actually likes sucking meat? I'm just being, hey, come on, bro. Come on. Do you think it will be hard for a college professor to indoctrinate JJ and convince him that Charlie Kirk is his enemy and he's trying to destroy people who look like him? Come on. Now, the story of how Tyler got caught to me is a little bit more entertaining than what Tyler identifies as, but we'll get back to what Tyler identifies as and we'll address the culture war currently going on Twitter surrounding Tyler's identity. But apparently, Tyler got caught because, well, Tyler turned himself in. So Tyler went back home. I'm assuming he ain't have nowhere to go, which also, too, bruh, kind of shows how really unplanned this was. You had a 3-day head start and you ain't out the country yet, and nobody knows that you did it. So you could have taken a flight and got out of Dodge quickly. But apparently, Tyler went back home and told his father, "Hey, I did it." And what the father did afterwards really helped the FBI save their behind and lead to an arrest.
But as we await that, CB Cotton's working her story, her sources on the ground there on this story as well. She is also live on the campus there, Orem, Utah. And CB, what do you have for us? Hello there.
Hey, Bill, good morning. So as we just heard from colleague David Spunt, the suspect has now been identified as Tyler Robinson, and we are hoping to learn more about who this person is at this news conference. But we heard this morning President Trump seemed to suggest that a person close to Tyler turned him in. What I'm hearing from one federal source I just got a note from is that this suspect's father turned him in last night in southern Utah. And all of these moving parts come as the FBI made a huge push yesterday for more information, asking the public, come forward if you recognize this person. And after that big push from the FBI, it seemed like things were moving here on the ground. We had a news conference that got pushed back several times yesterday. We also heard the president explain again how the timeline of this. He said a minister here in Utah who was friends with a U.S. Marshal got involved, and at that point, the father was contacted. And again, I'm hearing from a federal source that it was Tyler Robinson's father who turned in his son. We saw that new video yesterday, chilling, showing the gunman moving quickly across the roof and then dropping one story down before running through the parking lot. And we also learned from the FBI that the shooter then discarded the gun in a wooded area. We also got those newly released surveillance pictures of the shooter, giving us an up-close look at the shooter's face.
Almost from day one, this was a culture war. From the second that we found out that Charlie Kirk was dead, people erupted. The culture war erupted. It went from pray for Charlie Kirk, condolences to the family, to all right, bro, let's get to war. It's a civil war. The leftists are evil. They're murdering us. You even had people like Steven Crowder, who was dog whistling that a prominent leftist media personality should suffer the same fate. This was insane. Like, it was getting out of control, and it's still getting out of control. But now that Tyler has been identified as the shooter, in a weird way, is common tension. Now, is leading tension in another direction to where the blame game is happening, but it at least has calm tension to the point where I don't believe that this will cause an all-out civil war. Now, if Tyler would have been, I don't know, man, a Pakistani Muslim who did this, it would have been a civil war. If Tyler would have been a black man who did this, it would have been a civil war. It would have been madness. It would have been crazy. We would have seen people flock to the streets and riot and burn the cities down. But now that Tyler, for the most part, is a white male who grew up in a conservative home, who may have been a leftist, who may have been liberal. Now what is happening now is the conversation has at least a tad bit shifted from civil war, let's get to it, it's beef, to now people are more occupied in shifting the blame now. Now the left is saying, nah, this is not the work of us. Y'all did it. And now the right is saying, nah, y'all did it. But we're going to do our best job in this video to give my hypothesis on where I believe Tyler leans. Now, usually I would say it doesn't matter. Usually I would say, man, somebody is dead right here. This person's political affiliation doesn't matter when they do something horrible. But in this situation, I think it does matter. It does matter because his political affiliation will drastically dictate the outcome and the direction we go as a nation. So clearly the blame game is happening, right? You can see the Black Tucker Carlson he posted, Tyler Robinson, white boy, right-wing Republican, wealthy family, born and raised in Utah. But on the other hand, you have people like Ian Miles Chung, who's trying to combat the narrative that Tyler Robinson was a conservative or a Republican. Now, the smoking gun that most liberals are currently posting are people who are on the left. They're posting his donation to Trump, which is $224. Usually somebody who's like a hard leftist ain't really donating to Trump. But again, this was like while he was still in high school. He was 18 years old. He was a high school senior when he did this. But the other thing that people ain't talking about, he also donated $30 around the same time to a left-leaning political organization as well. So if he donated to the left-leaning political organization a few months before he donated to Trump, then that kind of goes to show, okay, where did his belief lie, And why was this kid at 18 years old just donating money to political organization? That's not really something that most 18-year-olds do, right? Like that's not like a common practice. Like an 18-year-old don't take hundreds of dollars and donate it to political organizations. So to me, like that was odd within the first place. Yeah. So Ian Mashong says everyone who falsely reported that Charlie Kirk's assassin was a registered Republican is now deleting their post. Don't let them forget their lies. And apparently, this right here is what he's using as the proof. Right. So you will have somebody right here who's also part of the left, and they will say, not black, not trans, not Muslim, not an immigrant, not a Democrat. Meet Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson, a white Christian conservative Republican male with a gun again. Now, y'all know where my affiliation lies. I really don't have none. I'm probably as centered as it gets. And yeah, I know. A lot of y'all consider people who are inner-centered cowards, who are too afraid to pick a side. Listen, bro, I just have not seen a perfect political party, bro, all right? So until I find a perfect party, I'm in the middle, all right? I'll vote for my self-interest. But what I would say is I believe the truth exists within the middle. I believe that Tyler was at some point conservative. He grew up in a Mormon household. He grew up with conservative parents. But I do believe that once Tyler got to college and he got the opportunity to find himself, to do some introspection, he found a crowd that fits him. He found a crowd that he believes he best identifies with. And I do believe that Tyler found himself, that Tyler, came out as LGBTQ. Now his parents is Mormon, so they probably did not accept it. But I do believe that Tyler grew a foundation of what he believed his identity was. He made friends who were probably LGBTQ. He himself was probably LGBTQ. And I do believe that after 4 years of being in college, that Tyler was no longer that 18-year-old Second Amendment toting hard right conservative, and that he probably at the very least was now in the middle, was now unaffiliated with a slight lean towards the LGBTQ community, a slight lean to liberal ideologies, because these were the people he loved and wanted to protect. And I do believe that 4 years of indoctrination, 4 years of being told that people like Charlie Kirk, that people like Donald Trump, like people like the far-right conservatives were coming after his liberties and his freedoms, and they were coming to oppress people who he identified with. And I do believe, like people who are on the spectrum, it was very easy to convince him. And once he was convinced, there was no looking back, and he was going to harm somebody one way or another. The only reason why I even addressed or think it matters, because for better or for worse, people feel strongly about this, and people are identifying anybody or any group of people who has something to do with this as their enemy, and they're willing to go to war with them. So if you're willing to go to war, I do believe there should be at least some clarification on who you're going to war with. Now, do I believe that war is the answer? I don't. Do I believe that inner turmoil is the answer? I don't. I do believe that at the end of the day, man, red, white, blue, or green, right? We are Americans, and we have to rally behind each other. We have to protect each other, right? We have to come together. And if we allow ourselves, man, to be turned against each other in this culture war, it's not going to end well. At the end of the day, bruh, regardless of if you are black, white, blue, green, I think we all want the best for America. And I think the culture war and where things is currently headed and why things have gotten so bad is because a lot of us is really passionate about this country and what we believe is the right path for this country. And we love this country with everything in our being, and we believe that our ideology is right to save this country, which is why we fight so hard in ideology to convince others, hey, no, yo, this is the right way. But at the end of the day, man, let's not forget what the true mission is. You fight so hard because you love America. And regardless of what happened, your love for America can never be abandoned. And threatening a civil war or threatening to attack other people isn't good for America at all. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think? Do y'all believe that Tyler Robinson is a Republican or a leftist? Let me know. All right? And if you're still watching, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen to find out. Apparently, they're starting a gang war over Adam 22, who's a West Coast podcaster. Click on this video right here to find out why they're threatening to start a gang war over Adam 22. I'm going to see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.